What's up, boys? Today's video is going to be do not get lost in the sauce. So I feel like we might go through things sometimes where it's like you maybe get like lost in the sauce a little bit, like you feel like you're working towards something and then it's like you're kind of like getting the weird, you have those like weird days where you're like you don't see the picture anymore the way you used to see the picture, right? You kind of get like lost in the process in a weird way where it's like you don't know what you're almost doing anymore and why you're doing it, and you kind of lose that like sense of direction you had and that like bigger picture maybe, or even like the smaller picture where you take those small steps ahead to get to your goal, and you might be like in that phase of taking small steps. And that's kind of a phase where you need to kind of maybe root yourself back into some basic things. I think that's important, is taking root in the core of kind of like, especially as a man, taking root in like masculinity and doing basic things like just do sports, do something that kind of rejuvenates your body and gets that blood flowing, gets that, you could almost say like tumors back, in that fire back, kind of reignite your mind, maybe engage in a good book, I don't know, eat some good food, cold shower, whatever, that kind of wakes you up a little bit. Because you can have those days where you're kind of just like going through the motions, or you've been going through the motions, and you kind of get to that, like you get lost in the sauce almost, in a sense, if you get the metaphor, in a sense. Lost in the process, I guess you could say, sort of, is what I mean. And it's not the same as being like lost in life. It's like being lost in the process, in the journey, in a weird way. Or you've been walking the path, but then you kind of get like a little bit lost in the middle or something like that. And that's kind of what that means. And I think when you're at that point, you kind of have to like realign yourself almost, maybe in the like basic stuff. And that way you can kind of get back on the path and go forward. Is when you're in that like patient phase in your life where you have to be patient and just wait for things to happen and work on different things you're working on and things like that, and just kind of root yourself into some core things you're doing, and maybe even like do something outside of the norm in your routine, so you can kind of like reinvigorate yourself a little bit, because life can get a bit stale. And I think this is where it's important to be like, don't be so, I guess, serious about life, because life at the end of the day, you're gonna end up in the grave at some point, as everybody does eventually. Whether it's in when you're 100 years old, 80, 60, who knows. But like at the end of the day, life is finite, and the thing is, you need to kind of like do things in a way where you're not going to, in a sense, waste that time, but also be able to enjoy that time regardless, because it's finite. And don't take things so seriously, and don't take things that are outside of you very seriously always, like, and don't be so attached to things. That's the most important thing. And also, there's some things that are just gonna happen to you, and you just need to kind of let it go, in a sense, very easily said, easier said than done. But that's the core essence of it, to live a more fulfilling life and happier life. And where I'm kind of getting to this is simply just remember to enjoy life, stop being so serious. I think there needs to be seriousness in life to achieve. If you want to achieve something, you need to kind of be serious about it and do it consistently and get to it, You can't just like not be serious about the gym and get results. I mean, maybe if you're a genetic elite or something, but for the average person anyway. So you have to usually be serious about things, but remember that life is not that serious, and you can have some fun, throw a joke. Don't always be so like consumed by media and the world, because it's easy, because there's so much negativity and useless things in the world. So that would be my advice. Do not get lost in the sauce of the process. That's something I've been thinking about this video, and I think I got my thoughts pretty well out for this topic. And I hope that if you're going through something like this, similar, then I hope this can help you kind of like reinvigorate yourself, maybe give you some new thoughts, maybe give you some new ideas about what you're going through, and so on. Thank you for watching. If there's a will, there's a way.